Hello and welcome. My name is Samira and I'll be your host alongside
Jonathan Chung
for today's edition of the Daily Rundown. Today we'll be covering the congressional elections in the 26th District of Florida.
So just to get started, let's cover some basic geographical information about this district. So Florida's 26th electoral district is located on the southern tip of the peninsula. Some major cities include Miami and the overall Miami-Dade County. Another major geographical feature of note is the renowned Key West archipelago of the southern tip.
Yep. This district also encompasses the entirety of Monroe County. Moving along to some more demographical features of this district, 90% of the 26th district is white, but 17% of citizens residing in this district speak Spanish. The median age is 40, and 10% of the population line is below the poverty line. For every 100 females, there are 114 males, and some key features of this area are Key West and the Everglades National Park. In addition, in just about Florida in general, 20% of Florida adults lack basic literacy abilities.
That's a pretty shocking statistic.
Appalling.
Some key economic sectors include tourism, healthcare, medical research, aerospace research, and agriculture.
Moving along to some points of social contention, we'll be sure to look out for points regarding gay marriage, social security, healthcare, education, and environmental threats.
Especially with environmental threats, as Florida is a coastal state, over the course of the years, climate change will definitely pose a major impact as rising sea levels impacts the coastal cities such as Miami.
In addition, because Florida relies so much on tourism, and with the Everglades National Park, this is in fact could potentially be a major hit to the economy if the environment is not taken care of in this region.
In terms of the ideological leanings of this state in general, Florida is a notoriously competitive district. It was won by the Democratic Party in the general elections in 2004 and 2008, but these margins were so small, with the margin in 2004 being a 0.5 margin of victory and in 2008 being a 5% victory for President Barack Obama. But just to highlight this divide, same-sex marriage was ruled unconstitutional in Florida, which shows just how divided the ideological leanings are between Democratic and Republican parties. And Barack Obama was the first candidate for president to win a majority of the population of 51.7% since old Bush's victory in 1988.
That's right, Jonathan. This district really could go either way.
So let's just talk about the individual campaign finances of each of the candidates in the 26th district. So just to kind of provide some context for the information we'll be talking about, itemized individual contributions are contributions of $200 or above that all have to be reported to the Federal Electoral Commission in the government. So basically this statistic is an indicator of how transparent a person's campaign is, because you can trace back all of their donations to the person who actually donated it. So Samira, please break down the statistics for us.
All right, so in Corbella's campaign, 43.8% of all funds and contributions can be attributed to itemized individual contributions, and 45.2% of funding can be attributed to other committee contributions.
That's a pretty untransparent percent of his campaign finance.
Mm-hmm. Whereas for Garcia's campaign, in comparison, 75.4% of funding can be attributed to itemized individual contributions, whereas only 21.2% are attributed to other committee contributions, a significantly more transparent candidate, if you ask me.
All right, so now let's move into the interviews.
Hi, Cecilia. What's for dinner?
Hey, Carlos, do you have a minute?
Cecilia, I'll call you back in a sec. Hey, John, what's up?
Hey, Carlos, I just want to ask you some questions about your policy positions for our webcast, The Daily Rundown. It's just to help better inform viewers so that they can make an informed choice in this year's elections.
For sure. Let's go.
All right, so first of all, can you just tell us a little bit about your Social Security position?
My position on Social Security. All right. So, I firmly believe Medicare is one messed up system. We need some serious reform. The more these baby boomers age, the more hospital insurance trusts will go bankrupt. This is going to happen in 10 years. We are in need of some serious reform.
All right, okay. What about your position on the economy?
As a former small businessman myself, I founded a small business. I believe in saving small businesses, allowing for entrepreneurship. So I firmly believe that we need to simplify our tax system. You know, we need to reward hard work, we need to lower taxes on working families, and just end these chronic budget deficits.
All right, thank you for that. What about your position on healthcare?
You know, unfortunately, the President's Affordable Care Act, better known as Obamacare, hasn't fulfilled its promise. Instead, it's increased the cost of healthcare for millions of Americans, threatening our economic recovery. So I firmly believe a new healthcare law should include reforms that are centered around consumers, demand more transparency and in the healthcare market, and just facilitate high-risk pools for those in pre-existing conditions and treat women fairly.
Thank you for that comprehensive answer. What about your position on immigration?
Oh, this is indeed quite a tricky issue. Our nation is in need of an expanded guest worker program that will help us fill the jobs that America is not seeking, especially those in agriculture. So while we must demand accountability from those who enter our country illegally, that is, we should establish an earned path for legalization for those who have abided our laws while within America's borders.
All right, last policy one. What about education?
Education is a cause that is very dear to my heart. It has been for many years, ever since the start of my career, really. So I believe that as a government, we have a primary duty of encouraging and supporting low-income families and enrolling children in early childhood education programs and supporting programs like Head Start. That has always been my goal as a congressman.
Thank you, Representative Corbello. Just tell us a little bit about yourself.
All right, well, I am a father, a husband, and a former small business owner who has dedicated much of my life to serving the community in South Florida, and I'm a proud University of Miami alumni.
And you're a young guy too. At the age of 36, you're one of the youngest congressmen in Florida. But how have your positions changed in your short political career?
I have to say they really haven't. Ever since I was young, I've been extremely passionate about education, and I have to say that I sometimes deviate from my party's policies to really hold my own and do its best for my district. And even today, you can see me, my number one cause that I fight for is just education amongst low-income families.
It's true that you are quite a moderate Republican. What is your stance on Donald Trump? How are you going to break from party lines, or are you going to stay with him?
I wouldn't really say I'm breaking from party lines. Like I said, I really do like to hold my own. I will not be voting for Trump this year's election just because I really do disagree on a very moral, fundamental level with him. So in that sense, I'm not really sticking with my party on this one.
All right, great. Thank you so much for your time, Representative.
Thank you.
Thank you.
No worries.
Oh man, what a miss.
Hey, Joe, you have a second?
Yeah, what's up, Samira?
All right, we just wanted to ask you a couple interview questions about your policies and just your stance on a few issues. Do you have a sec?
Yeah, I'd be happy to.
All right. So, word on the street is you're a politician whose positions on various issues change quite frequently. Could you address this?
Well, I'd just like to say that that's quite untrue, because from everything from the immigration to the economy, I've been a leader on all these issues, and I've stood steadfastly behind my stances on all of these issues. For example, on immigration, I've been a leader on immigration reform. I've been the lead sponsor of the only bipartisan comprehensive immigration reform bill in Congress. On Social Security, I've always opposed the privatization of Social Security, gay marriage. On all these issues, I have been consistent throughout my term and my tenure in Congress, and I intend to do so.
All right, could you tell us a little bit more about your position on immigration?
So, like I said earlier, I've been a leader on immigration reform. I've been the lead sponsor of the only bipartisan reform bill in Congress, and I am in favor of comprehensive reform to keep people within this country and give them jobs.
What about education?
In terms of education, I've passed legislation to reduce college loan rates by almost 50%. I believe everyone deserves a college education. I intend to pursue that policy.
What about the economy? Your opponent, Carlos Corbello, seems to have a pretty definitive opinion on small businesses.
Well, I believe that small businesses are crucial to this country's economy. However, I do believe in giving working people a solid social safety net to increase their chances. I believe in a $15 federal minimum wage. I voted for a Fair Pay Act that prohibits wage discrimination on gender, and I believe that these policies should be continued.
And lastly, one quick question. Speaking of reform, could you tell us a little bit more about your stance on healthcare, just real quick?
I completely oppose repealing Obamacare. I believe that it is fundamental. It has provided to over 20 million people in this country with healthcare, and to repeal it would be an absolute disaster.
All right. Lastly, could you just tell us a little bit about yourself?
Well, I have been in Congress for quite a while now, and I believe that service is utmost importance to this country, and I intend to continue to do so. Thank you. Well, Samira, you could really see the differences and the clashes in their policy perspectives, especially in the fields of immigration reform, the economy, and healthcare.
I totally agree, John, but you know what, I gotta say, I'm really thinking Corbello might be the right choice for this district.
So why do you think that?
Well, let's think about it. So roughly 20% of adults in Florida lack basic literary skills, like being able to read a newspaper article, according to data released by the National Center for Education Statistics. And because of Corbello's immense background and passion for education, it looks like this background is going to appeal immensely to voters.
And I really think that his moderate stance on many issues will really take the Republican Party in a different direction, especially as, given the gridlock and the lack of bipartisanship in Congress, a moderate Republican and a person who's willing to reach across the aisle is really necessary in order for this country to move forward and for things to get done.
Definitely. He's taken numerous bipartisan stances and collaborated with other congressmen that are Democratic regarding issues such as environmental change and renewable resources. And also, you know, with 60% of the voting population under 45, it's evident these people are looking for a sort of upstart that can deviate from the party and isn't tied down with too many political alliances. And I think this is really the case with Corbello, because, you know, he's a fan of providing illegal immigrants with legal avenues of gaining citizenship, a view that really isn't shared with the Republican Party.
And what also makes you think that this guy is really just a moderate person who can bring change to this district?
You know, he's really adamant towards advancements in renewable energy and energy research. He's really into understanding climate change, which I think is imperative, especially in a state like Florida, that relies so much on the environment and tourism, agriculture. He's also been quoted saying that he did not vote for Donald Trump against his party's wishes because of fundamental moral disagreements that he has. You know, this really shows that this guy can stand his ground. He also speaks Spanish, which I imagine is really appealing to his Latino voters as well.
I totally agree. And with that, from Samira and Jonathan on the Daily Rundown, we would like to officially endorse Carlos Corbello for the 26th District of Florida. And with that, thank you for watching.